Hi everyone and welcome to the tutorial. Sorry about the noise of the fan in the background. It's been really hot here in Adelaide lately and I need it on, otherwise I'm going to get incredibly sweaty hands, but hopefully you can hear me okay over the top of it. I'm just going to do a really quick tutorial today on how I work wrap and turn short rows in garter stitch. I use wrap and turn short rows a little bit differently in garter stitch. Usually for wrap and turns you work the wraps and then at a later point you pick up the wraps and work them with the wrap stitches. For garter stitch I don't worry about that because it's actually really hard to see a wrap stitch in a garter stitch texture, so I just wrap the stitches and do that as many times as I'm required, and then I just knit past them when it's time to work those stitches. So I just wanted to show you what that looks like. So your pattern will generally say, when you're doing wrap and turns, to work to a certain point, and then it will use the abbreviation W&T or something similar, which means that you then need to wrap and turn. So let's say for instance that my pattern says that I need to knit to the last 5 stitches and then wrap and turn. So I'll quickly knit to the last 5 stitches here. 2, 4, 5, so that's the last 5 stitches here, and now I wrap and turn. How I do that in garter stitch is I bring my working yarn to the front of my work first, then I slip the next stitch purlwise. This is going to be our wrap stitch, so I slip that purlwise from my left to my right needle. I then bring my working yarn to the back of my work again, and there you hopefully see the wrap starting to take place, and then I slip this stitch back to the left hand needle again and purlwise, so I make sure I'm not twisting it. So there's our little wrap at the base of the stitch, and because it's a wrap and turn, I've done my wrap. Now I need to turn my work. So turn it like this, and I'm working garter stitch, so my working yarn needs to be at the back of my work, and at the moment it's at the front, so I bring that to the back, and that's totally completed working the wrap. And now I can just keep knitting. After I've done the first stitch, it's a good idea to give the yarn a bit of a tug, because I've noticed that the tighter you make your wrap, the harder it is to see the wrap in the final garter stitch fabric. So I just tug the yarn a little bit and then I keep knitting. And so this would be the wrong side of my garter stitch. Sorry about the clicking. And let's say that on my wrong side row it also says to knit to the last 5 stitches and then to wrap and turn. So I'll knit to the last 5 stitches on this side. 2, 4, 5, that's it there. And once again wrap and turn. So bring my working yarn to the front. It's exactly the same, well, I work it exactly the same for the right side and wrong side in garter stitch. Bring the yarn to the front, slip the next stitch purlwise from the left to right hand needle, bring the yarn to the back, slip that stitch back to the left hand needle, and now turn my work. Bring the yarn to the back and now knit across my stitches. After the first stitch, I keep forgetting to do that, sorry. After the first stitch, just tug the working yarn to tighten up that wrap, and then you can work the rest of the stitches. So now I need to be able to spot my wraps, because in my next row it says knit to X number of stitches before your wrap stitch. So let's say it says work to 3 stitches before your wrap stitch. It's pretty easy to see a wrap because you'll see that there's like a little indentation in the flow of your stitches. You see this little like break here, and if I look really carefully, these stitches all have purl bumps at the base of them, whereas this one looks a little different, and if I was to really pull it apart I could see it's not a purl bump. I can actually see there's a little bit of yarn traveling around the base of the stitch. Yeah, that's your wrapped stitch, and if I'm working to 3 stitches before it, I count from it 1, 2, 3. So my pattern says knit to 3 stitches before the wrap stitch and then wrap and turn. So I'm up to the point where I wrap and turn. Once again, bring your working yarn to the front, slip the next stitch purlwise, bring the working yarn to the back, slip it purlwise back to the left hand needle, so make sure you're not twisting it and also not splitting your yarn. Turn your work, bring the yarn to the back again. So now you might see we've got 2 wrap stitches on this side. Make sure I've tightened up that wrap and then you're just knitting as normal. So it's super easy. I'll just do a wrap 3 stitches before the wrap on this side. So my wrap stitch is this one here. 3 stitches before it, I'm going to wrap this stitch. There we go. And now I've done 2 wraps on each side. And now I'm just quickly going to show you how I work past them. And literally all you do is you knit them as a normal stitch. So let's say I'm now at the row where it says knit the wrap stitch without picking up the wrap. So let's say it said knit 2 for 4 stitches in total. So knit 4 and then knit the wrap stitch without working it. This is my wrap stitch here. All I do is knit it as normal. And then it might say knit 2 and then knit the wrap stitch without picking up the wrap. So all I do is knit it, and then it might say knit to the end of my work. So I just knit to the end. And there I've worked past those wraps. And if I was to work past these wraps, all I do is turn my work and I just knit my wrong side row and I'd treat them exactly the same. I just knit across them without doing anything to them. So you can sort of see there how the wraps are actually already pretty hard to spot in our knitted fabric. I know that there's one there and there's one there, but you can see how that just sort of blends in with the overall texture of the garter, and that's the benefit of not picking up your wrap stitches. You can just leave them as they are. So that's how to work wrap and turns without picking up the wraps. Thanks for watching.